We now move to the open debate. Time is tight. Can I ask members to confine their remarks to their allotted time? I call Mark McDonald, followed by Ian Gray.
Thank you very much, Presiding Officer. This is a debate about vision and the delivery of that vision. Yesterday, the Scottish Government outlined how independence will be delivered and outlined how the powers of independence will be used by a Scottish Government that is led by the Scottish National Party. It's worth reflecting on the journey to this point, Presiding Officer, not just since May 2011, but over many decades. Many committed activists have worked exceptionally hard in times when the establishment of a devolved parliament, let alone an independence referendum, was but a distant hope at that time. People who had doors slammed in their faces during the days when the Scottish National Party did not command strong electoral support. This moment in history, Presiding Officer, belongs to those on whose shoulders we stand, many of whom did not live to see this day. I have always believed, well, I'll give way to the member on that point then.
John Lamont.
Yeah. One of those activists, of course, was Jim Sillars, who said to be a separate independent Scotland, you need a separate currency. What is his legacy for you?
Mark McDonald.
Well, I'll learn from that mistake, Presiding Officer, not to let the Labour leader in again when trying to make, I think, what was a very serious reflection on the hard work of many that led to this point. And it should be worth noting that unless I've picked him up wrong, Jim Sillars intends to vote yes in the referendum next year, irrespective of the points that the Labour leader is making. I have always believed, Presiding Officer, from the moment I became politically aware, that Scotland should be independent. My reasoning has evolved as I've grown older, and now, as the parent of a disabled child, I see the world through different eyes. I look to the two futures that are available to my son and to others like him. That which the Union offers, of being regarded as a burden on the taxpayer, of parties competing over who can subject the vulnerable to the harshest welfare regime. Indeed, only recently we saw the headline in the, I think it was in the Observer, where Rachel Reeves, the DWP spokesperson for the Labour Party, is now promising a tougher welfare system than that currently being administered by the Tories. I don't want a tough welfare system, I just want a fair welfare system for the people of Scotland. Because that is not the future I want for my son or any other vulnerable citizen in Scotland. Now, I heard Joanne Lamont on Radio 4's Any Questions programme from Bearsden, and one of the remarks she made struck a chord with me. She spoke about how wasn't it great that this Parliament had been delivered and was able to protect the National Health Service in Scotland from the reforms that were taking place south of the border. In essence, wasn't it great that the NHS in Scotland was controlled in Scotland? Yet when vulnerable people leave our hospitals and our GP surgeries and enter the clutches of Westminster welfare reform, according to Joanne Lamont, that's all right. She cannot make the logical step from having health protected by this Parliament to having other forms of social protection controlled by this Parliament. But I believe that we can do better by our vulnerable. The White Paper itself acknowledges that welfare is to be viewed as a social investment designed to promote equality, fairness and social cohesion, not just as a safety net, but also as a positive investment in people. It sets out clear goals, policy goals, that the government would pursue were the SNP elected, whether it is to abolish the bedroom tax, whether it is to cancel universal credit and personal independence payments. These are real, tangible policies, real choices which we can make with the powers of independence to ensure that the same protection afforded to our vulnerable through a Scottish-controlled health service is afforded to them through a Scottish-controlled welfare system. It is an opportunity to recognise the value of all of our people through a system that values all of our people, truly a system that would deliver from cradle to grave. And that's the point about the childcare policy as well, and the point that the other parties seem to be having difficulty with, is that in order to invest the sums that will be required to deliver that transformational change, we require to have control of Scotland's revenues. We don't require what is currently being operated by Westminster, which is an ever-diminishing block grant subject to the whims of austerity-mad politicians at Westminster. We need the full power of Scotland's resources to deliver the full range of powers for the people of Scotland. And that is the essence of independence. It is about Scotland's people controlling Scotland's future. and Scotland's government delivering for Scotland's people. It is about investment in bairns, not bombs. It is about attracting talented people to come to Scotland, not booting talented people out of Scotland. It is about protecting the vulnerable, not humiliating and degrading them. That is essentially what independence is about. It is the step that we take, that we say to the Scottish people, we trust you, and they put their trust in those who they elect to govern to take decisions for them. We do not have the system where decisions on Scotland's behalf are taken by people who did not ask what Scotland wanted them to do on Scotland's behalf. We need only look at what happened in terms of the Common Agricultural Policy decision to see that we have that system in operation, where government officials and ministers at Westminster take decisions on behalf of Scotland with nary a care for what the impact will be on Scotland.
Okay, bring your remarks to a close, Ms McDonald.
Absolutely, Presiding Officer. With control of the powers of independence, we can take decisions on behalf of the people of Scotland that reflect the values of the people of Scotland. That is the society I want for my children.